Hi, I'm Doreet with Serenity Foods, elegantly raw. So, why do we eat? When do we eat? How do we eat? These are all questions that each and every human being who eats needs to ask because what we eat, when we eat, and how we eat affects every aspect of our being. It affects our mood, it affects our digestion, it affects our wellness, health, or illness or disease. It affects healing, it affects recovery. There's a multitude of things that affects those choices, and we need to be mindful of them. I do believe in being very mindful around the choices we make around food. I believe it's important why we're eating. I believe it's important when we're eating, meaning the timing. When do we eat? I believe it's important and even crucial or critical to know why we do what we do when we do it. And it shows up constantly around food. So I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm starving." I hear it all the time, but they don't even know what it means like to starve. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm so hungry, I have to eat." In truth, we don't have to eat. So most of the time, too, when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty because the part of the brain that registers thirst is right beside the brain that registers hunger. We tend to confuse them. And most of us are thirsty all the time because we never, ever give ourselves adequate intake of moisture internally and externally. Most of us are chronically dehydrated, and no one is well if no one person is well if he or she is dehydrated. Dehydrated leads to way too many problems, and that is something which I will discuss on this channel in the future if there's enough interest in that. This is a new channel, and so what I discuss will be determined a lot by the likes that I see here and how many subscribers we get. So please know this, that if you want to hear more of this, please do subscribe and or like the presentation that I make, the ones that at least you like. But please be truthful about it too. So why is it important why we eat? Why we eat? Have you ever started to eat and then ask yourself, why am I even eating right now? I'm not hungry. I don't need this. Why am I partaking in this particular food? For example, this avocado. If you look at this avocado and this one, they are alike. These two are alike. If you look at this avocado, it's not the same. So we always are constantly making choices around food. Should I eat this avocado? Let's say they're both at the same ripened stage. Should I eat this avocado, which is totally different? Or should I eat this one? Do you see? Even the colors are different. Totally different avocados. So the choice we make about which one to eat ought to be intuitive. The best choice we can make is to make our choices intuitive around food. So it's not enough just to eat an avocado because you think you want protein or you need some fats. It's interesting the decisions we make around food. Animals do not. Animals do not stand over their food and go, too much carbohydrates here. I don't think this one has enough protein in it, so I'm not going to eat this. And I've never seen a lion or a lioness or a tiger or any of the wild cats approach their prey and go, that one does not look fattened enough, or that one doesn't look like it has enough protein in it. I think I will just go back home and wait until I can find another animal with much more protein in it. They do not do that. We do that. We give our power away to people and to industries to tell us what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat it. And then we wonder why we're sick. Because the reason why we are is because we're disconnected with our food. We wonder why we feel depressed. We get depressed when we give our power away because it leaves us feeling powerless, and it leaves us as victims. And then we start adapting the language of victims. And once we start adapting the languaging of being a victim or victimhood, it is really difficult to get back to the powerful beings that we are without relanguaging ourselves out of it. And all the time, I hear the languaging around food, and it's always the language of victimhood around food. It saddens me, which is exactly why I'm doing this series. And I invite you to partake in this series, please, and to come back when you're ready to hear it. One is not always ready to hear everything. So return when you think you're more ready to hear it. So it's not just the languaging around food that I'll be speaking about, although I'll be addressing that a lot. I'll be also speaking about everything we have around food, the decoration around it, the environment around it. For example, I myself in my kitchen and the dining area where I eat, I put crystals. I use crystals a lot around food. Comes straight from the earth. And if there's even a candle in the middle, comes straight from the earth. So the food recognizes this, and the energy in this will totally and completely change the energy of this avocado if I put them together or close to each other, because everything is about energy. Everything. We cannot get away from energy because we're energetic beings and we live in an energized and energetic universe. So everything we have near to food, close to food, if we have something, for example, that gives off radiation, what in the kitchen gives off radiation? I see in so many people's kitchens. I even see it in kitchens of people who say that they're raw foodists or that they eat living foods, but they all have a microwave oven there. Doesn't matter if they only use the microwave oven to heat maybe a hot pack to put on a injured arm, or somebody else uses it. The point is that there's radiation. There is an entity that emits radiation in the same place where we store our food, where we prepare it, where we eat it. Think about everything you have in your kitchen, what you're using to cut the food with. Does the knife that you use change the energy of the food? Should you be cutting lettuce, or should you be tearing it into bits and pieces? And when we do so, are we doing it mindfully? Are we giving thanks to the food when we're preparing it? Are we lovingly embracing the food when we're preparing it? For example, if I decide to cut into this avocado, should I just jab into it and grab it and throw it down my throat? Or do I lovingly take a ceramic knife, which does not change the energy of the food, by the way, and do I then cut it lovingly, mindfully, and slowly, artfully? Or do I just throw the thing down my throat? Because that will in turn affect the digestion, and in turn affect my mood, and then in turn affect my future illnesses, diseases, health, well-being, or wellness. So please be mindful around food. I'm inviting you here to start practicing mindfulness about food and around food. And I will be speaking in depth about mindfulness coming up in future episodes here. However, I truly and completely hope that you will start reading books by Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who was at the Paris Peace Talks after to end the Vietnamese War. He created Plum Village in France, which is a monastery in France, and I almost ran away to be a monkette at Plum Village after studying with him and being on retreats with him. Thich Nhat Hanh has many, many books and practices around mindfulness, which I totally and completely invite you all to start reading and start delving into, because I really believe it will change your life. Mindfulness is the key of all virtues. Mindfulness is at the heart of love. Mindfulness is at the heart of wellness. And mindfulness is needed in us for us to be truly healthy and to make decisions around food. So it's not enough to just look at the food and decide whether it's a carbohydrates, whether it has protein in it, whether it has enough calories. We're not here to eat calories. We're here to replenish ourselves with more love. And the energy of light and love is what will help us to thrive. So until the next time, please read some books by Thich Nhat Hanh, be mindful, be thoughtful, and be loving to yourself. Thank you for tuning in today.